Hello. Just getting settled here on the couch. Welcome back. I'm going to do a little quick podcast today. I've got in my hand a can of 12 degree premium Czech lager from Tanglefoot Brewing. So, this week was an exciting one. I got some beer in 2 cans, and if you can hear that on the podcast, I've brought myself a little 6-pack home, and ended up doing pretty well with those cans this week. So I just wanted to recap how that went and talk about future canning plans and service plans. So cheers, na zdraví. I will partake in this just for a moment. Yep, super tasty. So happy with how the cans turned out. So for those that aren't watching on the YouTube channel, which I highly recommend, just because you get to see very engaging content of me sitting on the yellow couch. So it's kind of a big deal. But I've got a can here. It's a 12-ounce can with a white label. The blue logo in the middle of that label, obviously, if you've seen my logo, it's right in the middle of a white matte finish label. On the bottom, it says Premium Czech Pale Lager, 5%. And there's a blue stripe off to the left-hand side that has the 12 degree number on there, and that is the area where it'll either be 12, 13, or 10. So I have labels for each of those, and then up in the top left-hand corner, it is 12 fluid ounces, brewed in Temple, Texas. So very simple can design. Oh, spilled a little bit, clumsy. Pretty simple can design. But I think simplicity is better, especially when I was building this brand. A lot of my influence in the design of the logo kind of was an homage to old Texas beer culture, specifically the Pearl logo, which is almost a direct ripoff of the shape, but keeping that kind of Texas beer history vibe in the brand was super important to me. So simplicity is key. Anyways, beer's tasting great out of here. I posted a video on YouTube that was not on the podcast about because it was very, very visual, but did a recording of how I can the process and went through every step. It's about 35 minutes long, pretty detailed. So check that out if you haven't seen it. It is, I think it turned out pretty nice. I ended up editing that. Man, I'm diving deep into the YouTube and like social media stuff, and like putting these videos and posts and podcasts and stuff together is usually kind of like just an afterthought of like, sit down and record and then publish or whatever. And then the most recent ones, I've really been kind of trying to dive into the editing side of things and just make it look more presentable, cut out any mistakes that were in there. And sorry, I keep scratching my nose. I've been having allergies all day today here in Austin, Texas. Gotta love it. But the editing process, this, I'm sure many other people that are listening and watching this can relate that it's much more than I expected it to be. I spent like 4 hours editing that one video that's 35 minutes long, and then the filming process obviously takes a little bit longer. It's not too bad because I'm just filming on my phone and just kind of getting clips and long form talking, just like this podcast. I just sit down and talk from start to finish. I don't really have a script or anything. But it, all in all, I probably spent 4 hours on that video alone, and not counting the time that I actually was canning and doing the operation. So pretty interesting, but I'm digging it. Hopefully I'm making them better in the future. I know the first few videos are pretty lackluster. So if anybody has any tips on things that they think I could do a better job of, or I'm not highlighting, I think there's a lot of stuff that I think I want to say and don't end up covering or don't end up showing in both the podcast and on the YouTube videos that I think maybe is a disservice to y'all. So if you have any feedback on that stuff, please let me know. I kind of dig this whole documenting process now, so it's been pretty fun. But anyways, back to canning. So I had a limited number of cans, the blank cans and lids. Shout out to Black Star Co-op, the brewery that I used to work at, for hooking me up with a trash can full of blank cans. I bought those from them. It was about 200 cans last week, and I used that to be able to can some 6-packs for service this week. So I, like I said, I got about 200 of those, 200 lids, and I already had labels printed from the last time I did a small canning run. And so I did on Wednesday. On Tuesday, I ended up canning probably 26 packs, I want to say, something like that. Maybe a few, maybe like 18 or something. But I canned up most of the cans. And then I ended up doing what I've been talking about doing for many, many months. If y'all have been following this brand whole documentation process from the beginning, I've been talking about taking some of the cans out to East Bell County, which is where a large Czech population is, right around the Temple area. And so I dropped cans off at a few of the kind of staple Czech gathering spots out there and introduced myself. And I think it went pretty well. So first stop, I went out to Oscar Store, which is in technically Temple, but Oscar is the area out there, and it's a cute little beer joint, food joint. And I think they have like bands and stuff out there. I haven't been out there for any events, but dropped off a couple of cans, introduced myself, and basically said the same thing I said at the other places. I don't have anything to sell yet, but I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know that there was a brewery in Temple that brews Czech style lager. So did that. That went over well. Went out to Green Sausage House, which is pretty famous, and did the same thing. Introduced myself to the owner and said, "Hey, I brought these cans. I don't have anything to sell, but just wanted to let you know I'm here." And then the third place that I stopped was Ratibor Store, and that was a unique experience. I walked up to the bar, didn't really know who to talk to, so I let the woman behind the counter know, "Hey, I'm Mandy. I started this brewery." She's like, "Oh, this table over here. They're the ones uh, that would really like this." She said, "How many more do you have?" And it was the last stop, or second to last stop, but I'll get to that. But I had 2 cans for him, and so I dropped them off. And she said, "There, how many more do you have? They're all gonna want one." And I was like, "I'm sorry, I only have two samples for you." But apparently, this round table at the Ratibor store is kind of a Czech gathering area, and there's just kind of like this group of gentlemen that come in at 2 o'clock. I don't even know, maybe once a week or every day, and they drink beer and talk and are and speak Czech, and so I introduced myself to them and just let them know about the brewery, and then I headed back to Temple. And then when I was heading back, I had 2 more cans, and I was thinking I was going to drop them off at there was another business, and it just like slipped my mind. I couldn't remember what it was, but I ended up going to the Temple Chamber of Commerce, which we are a member of. And then Rod Henry, who is I think he's the director of the Chamber of Commerce. I always forget his title, but basically he's the one that kind of like, he introduced himself, came into Tanglefoot several times, supported us, and really advocated for us joining the chamber. So I dropped a couple of cans off for him, and lo and behold, he loved them, emailed me, said thank you so much, and then did a super sweet post on the chamber's Facebook and Instagram about Tanglefoot, and just saying that, shouting out the cans. He posted a picture of them, and then just saying some kind words about us. So that was super nice. And then service came up on Thursday, opened the doors at 1 p.m. And I immediately, like the first few people that came in were coming in for some 6-packs. I will say the whole weekend, this whole week of service was pretty relatively slower than I expected, but huge amount of appreciation for everybody that came out to support and buy 6-packs. So Ron, who's a regular, he came out and bought a whole case. He bought 4 6-packs, and a few other regulars came and bought several cases. So that was pretty neat to see. And then I sold out of the 12. So I think I did like 8 6-packs of the 12 and 10 6-packs of the 13. So I sold out of the 12 that first day. So I came in early on Friday and did some more canning and kind of ran through some of those, and ended up selling out of both the 12 and the 13 that second day. And then so I came in on Saturday and canned whatever I had left. And I think I ended up having 7 6-packs, 7 or 8 6-packs available to sell, because then I ran out of supplies. So I ran out of cans, ran out of lids, and then I ran out of the 6-pack pack tech holders. And I sold as soon as I opened, had a guy come in, and he bought I think he bought one 6-pack and a couple of growlers, super sweet. And then I looked at the Facebook post that I had made about just having a handful of 6-packs left, and Zach from the Beltonian, which is a theater in Belton, he ended up saying that he wanted to buy all the 6-packs that I had and to reach out to him to call him. So I texted him and said, yeah, I got a message from you about buying some 6-packs, and he said that they are, which I actually happen to know about this event, but they are hosting a Czech movie night at the Beltonian, and they have been hosting it on, I forget which Tuesday of the month, but one Tuesday in every month. And they wanted to have my beer out there, so he said he would buy whatever I had left. So I had 6 packs left, and I said I'd sell them to him if he came and picked them up. So that was super awesome, which actually leads me to something that is a little bit of a sad thing, that not a little bit, it's quite sad, but just wanted to touch on it. So the director of the of the Czech Heritage Museum in Temple, her name was Susan Chandler. She passed away last week, and I had just seen her on like 2 days before that, and she had brought up this event in particular about the Czech movie night and wanting to get our beer out there. So it kind of all was serendipitous how that happened, and I, a lot of thoughts and prayers go out to her family and everybody. She was super super sweet. So that was sad news to hear, but yeah, Tanglefoot Beer will be in the Beltonian for their Czech movie night next Tuesday. So if you're in the area or you're interested in that, check it out. No pun intended, or pun intended. Who cares? It should be a cool time. I won't be able to make it this one, but I'm going to try to make it to at least one of them in the next few months. Yeah. So all in all, the week was pretty cool to see people come out and support and buy can. I mean, I sold over 36 packs, and um, yeah, people just seem to really like the look of the cans and the label, and really enjoyed taking beer home, which is, again, this is kind of like the goal of this brand is, start with a very intense, very specific, intentional beer drinking experience. This particular beer served in this particular way, in this particular glass, in this particular environment, and then scale that to, this is the beer that you associate with, Temple, and this is your beer. This is your go-to beer. So having 6 packs available is definitely something that I've looked forward to having for a long time. So since I sold out, I ran out of canning supplies. I placed an order for a pallet of cans from good friends over at American Canning, lids, and PackTech 6-pack holders. So I should, I'm waiting to hear back on from their warehouse to see when that order is going to be ready for pickup. But I will be renting a U-Haul trailer, getting that pallet loaded into the back of the U-Haul trailer, drive it up to Temple, unload the pallet, and then drive the U-Haul back to the U-Haul center to drop off. So that'll be a fun round trip to Temple, hopefully sometime this week, so that I can get beer into 6-packs again. I am slightly concerned about the volume that I'm going to need to dedicate to 6-packs. First week that I have beer available is not a great litmus test for how much I'm going to sell. Hopefully it's a lot more, but I'm not sure just yet. So I'll give it, a couple more weeks and kind of gauge what the volume demand is going to be that I'm going to need to divert to package. But it's going to be interesting to see how much what my production schedule is going to look like if I'm selling, a case is about 2.5 gallons of beer. So if I sell 4 cases of beer, which is 16 6-packs, that's like 10 gallons. So I'm just going to have to kind of feel that out and see how much I can really dedicate to that while still having beer available, obviously, for sale inside of the beer saloon, which leads me to my next announcement. It's not a surprise or anything super special, but the 10 Degree Pale Lager will be coming back this week. I am going to go up to Temple tomorrow. Hopefully, if this sanitizer that I've ordered comes tonight, to rack the 10 Degree Pale Lager into the bright tank and then carbonate it the next, for a couple of hours, and then get it into kegs so that it'll be ready for service on Thursday. And then hopefully I will have cans of that as well, but that's all contingent on that order being ready for pickup. So anyways, lots of stuff going on. Pretty exciting. I'm also looking forward to continuing to make the front area, the kind of restaurant area, look more presentable, at least make it look more like a brewery. I've got games in there. I've got classic boards, cards, dominoes, things like that. I'm going to be putting up my dartboard. I've just got one dartboard right now, but I'd like to get at least one more, and trying to figure out. I'm most likely going to end up building a rectangular padded backstop for the dartboards that'll be to the right of the TV. So, but that'll be more kind of like construction and buying supplies and things like that. That'll be on the back burner until I get a few more weeks of sales in. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all of the updates. Oh, except so I posted on stories and I made an Instagram post, but we cleaned out our storage shed, or at least we took stuff out, took pictures so that we can sell it and make some room, threw a bunch of junk away, but pulled out a lot of old memorabilia and old kind of equipment from that storage shed that I thought would fit the vibe really well inside of the restaurant area. So I found a old scale, super old scale, real actually still in great working condition, but real like rusty and rustic and kind of has that old vibe to it. Found an old gumball machine in there, which I've seen my entire life in storage, and it's got it's 4 pennies. It's a 1 cent gumball machine, so it's pretty old. 2 cash registers, 2 national cash. I think it's National is the brand, National Cash Registers that are super old. I think from the 60s or something, and they are well used. I will say I think they used them back in the 70s, and those are sitting up front on the counter space that used to be where the actual register was. So those are pretty cool to look at. And then I found some other pictures, a picture of the old Al's barbecue barn that was downtown. This location that we're in now, probably back in the 70s, or I think probably back in the 70s. And then there's a super cool old drive-through sign, the barbecue sign, the menu for the drive-through, and it's got like beef, which is brisket, sausage, whatever, chopped beef, but beef is like $3 a pound. The chopped beef sandwich is like, I don't know, like 99 cents or something crazy. So it's kind of a blast from the past. I found an old Al's to-go bag that it's like white and orange striped, which this is a fun fact. If I don't think I've talked about it on this podcast, but so Al's Barbecue Barn, the brand, since I've been around it, has always been like this burnt brick red color and white and black. And so that's kind of like the color scheme. But back in the day, my grandfather loved orange, and orange was a huge part of the color scheme. So the bag looks like almost a direct rip off of like a Whataburger bag, but it's like orange stripes and white with the Al's logo on it. So that's pretty cool to see. And then what else? I think that's pretty much it. Just some old, just a bunch of old stuff in there. So come check it out. But that's all I got. Cheers for this podcast episode. I will be filming probably tomorrow if I get the sanitizer. If not, on Wednesday, a video about racking a beer. So I should have a little detailed kind of a production video up there as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That'll be on YouTube only. But that's all I got. Cheers, Nazaravi. Have a great night. See you soon.